Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Day number 245, this war in Ukraine. Very active day. Many things unfolded throughout Ukraine, Russia, Europe, Middle East, Asia, and the United States. And we're going to take a look at all of them tonight. 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:01 p.m. out in California, 4:01 a.m. in Ukraine. And as I promised you guys last night, we would have the man with us. Health is getting better, getting rested, and on the up and up. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of the community. We've got more to say about that at the end of the stream. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and roll the man in here. I have to click one button, and here he is. Good morning.
Oh, good evening.
Welcome, buddy. Looking good there.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Health doing okay? Good. We're on the up and up. We've got to stay on the up and up. We've got a lot to do. We're going to do some thank yous at the end of the broadcast. Today, I received a shipment, 2 cases of something very unique. And I want to give a big thank. Yes, not even on the shopping list. So it'll be cool. It's sitting right here to my left, and we'll look at it at the end of the update. All right, let's jump to it. We've got a full night and lot to discuss. So here's what we'll do. Zhenya, like normally, I've got the slides ready. You haven't seen them. I will show the slide. I'll make the statement. You give the response. How about that?
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Today, October the 26th, already October the 27th, there in Ukraine, Danilov came out, the defense minister, and said, okay, today is the first day that I can officially say that the war will begin to slow down. Now, this does not mean they're going to slow down with the death, destruction, fighting. That's not what he was referring to. He was referring to the weather is now starting to get us. Rain, mud, snow is coming, colder weather. The war will take a little different look due to the weather changing.
Yeah, plus to that, it's a season changing, which means people, I think that at this moment we have a changing uniforms preparing, and this is a moment when a lot of volunteers are helping with the winter stuff, preparing in front. In time, and yes, but I hope that we will use it the best way. Our army will use it the best way.
Well, let me ask you this. Remember the road where we had our second flat tire? We were down near Mykolaiv and Kherson. Remember that road?
Yeah.
I had the great idea to take a shortcut. And I said, man, there's a road that cuts across. And I think about 30 kilometers, we went about 15 kilometers per hour. It was a dirt road. We had a flat tire. Could you imagine that road right now? Wet, cold, impassable.
And ice on this road.
Yeah. And ice. I mean,
yes.
I'm not even sure tanks could go down that road right now. So it's going to change things. And specifically down in this region where Rhetoric came out today and gave an update. So folks, we've been focusing a lot on Kherson, as we should. Kherson is becoming a place that probably in the future will be a landmark name, like a Battle of the Bulge or Iwo Jima. It's going to be the Battle of Kherson in the future. We'll look back at this. Ukraine is pushing. Russia is refortifying. They have brought in additional troops and supplies. The green circle there is the city of Kherson. Up the river there, you've got the Antonivsky Bridge, you've got Novokakhovka, the dam, and further up, Energodar, Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. This is going to be a focal point, I think, for the next couple of months in this war. And Rhetoric came out today and basically told Ukraine, Don't put the cart in front of the horse. Yes, Russia's moving out, it looks like. They're refortifying, they're moving around, but I have a feeling, he said, it's going to be a little tough in Kherson. What you think?
I think our guys will do as much they can before the new year, before the cold real weather. I mean, the real winter will come, and because this is the opportunity we have during the really like cold and yeah, cold time, winter time with the snow and ice. It will basically block and it will
Mm-hmm.
froze a lot of things. So we need to do as much we can there in Kherson, but this area muddy during the rains a lot of.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
If
We'll expect
ev-
best.
everyone look on the map right there, you see Kherson and the river coming down. So a lot of that region there above the occupied territory is where we were. In fact, we had pushed down, making a run into Shevchenka, where the blue areas are on the left. And there's only three major roads going down. One is at the blue areas on the left, one at the blue areas on the middle, and then over to the right, I don't even have it marked. It's going to Novokakhovka. Other than that, it's very rural, smaller roads, huge farmlands and fields, very flat. It's going to be tough. That's why, you're seeing whatever push we're going to do, we got to do it right now. It's going to
Yeah,
freeze up. Let me ask you something. How cold does it
yeah.
get in Ukraine in the winter?
It depends of the year. What I experienced, it was really cold and the snow like this.
Okay. Enough said.
But it, it,
Cold,
it is not often. It's just
but it's
once in a lot of
possible.
years. I mean, about the snow, the last years, the winter was, let's say, quite warm. We hope for the warm winter as well because we
Yes,
need it. With
we
all
do
of
need
this
it.
attempt to block people and to froze people, civilian people, and the military. So we
Yeah.
expect the best.
Well, it's a warmer winter would not only help military, but it would also, as you're seeing, help civilians because we know Russia is going to continue to try to knock out the ability to heat, have power, and feed Ukrainian people. With that said, let's jump up to a couple of the big stories today. Russia began doing nuclear testing. This kind of put the world on alert. The Russian Ministry of Defense announced that the strategic forces today carried out a training of massive nuclear strike in response to an enemy nuclear attack. Now, I have that in quote because that's exactly from the Russian media, a massive nuclear strike. Of course, under the supervision of President Vladimir Putin. I actually watched the video of this. I have it. And like this is the videos we could share in other places because they're so long you can't do it on an update. Um, he was sitting in his white office. Let me go back to this camera. He was sitting in his white office. All of these screens were up in front of him, and the generals and the defensive people were sitting there doing all of the tests. And the dictator was at this little white desk, little glass, had a computer under the glass, of course. He had a couple of pens, and he's just watching.
The media and the video they make for people to see, to watch, they usually demonstrate the red button, something like that. This is what I was watching this today from Russia about this, absorbing this nuclear weapon training, something like that. And this button, which is scaring people, the red button with that
Did
cover.
did we prep this update?
No.
Внимание, расчет, получен приказ.
Есть приказ.
Дублировано пусковые установки.
Есть.
Второй. Проконтролируй состояние
Yeah.
пусковых установок.
Есть проконтролировать состояние пусковых установок.
Внимание, расчет. Подготовиться к совместным действиям.
Есть подготовиться к совместным действиям.
Внимание.
Есть пуск.
Mhm.
You asked,
Okay.
I provide. Have
Okay.
it ready.
So you could see this is what they want for people to see. The
Mhm.
Soviet star,
Yes.
the big, then this quite very serious, some closed secret place, and the people who were like running, I mean, pushing these buttons, which is like, it will not work this way. It doesn't work
No.
this way.
No, it's all for show. And of
But
course,
people in Russia, this is what helped them. Okay, yeah, we're the best. This button makes us the overpowered nation. And
you,
the bad thing
peop-
is that other countries in a lot of countries in Europe, they are really afraid of that
people may
picture.
ask, are the Russians seeing this? And absolutely they're seeing it. That was on RIA Novosti. It's fear, it's intimidation, it's strengthening through showing what we have capabilities to do, but it does. It puts people in fear. I had a gentleman today in Pennsylvania stop me on the road and ask me, do you think that Russia will really use a nuclear weapon? So you can see the thought processes there, and that's way over here in Pennsylvania. Now, there are results to this type of testing because they're going to be doing this, they say, for the next 4 or 5 days. Right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell folks
this
about
is,
that right now.
in reality, today, like it's an example of the day in my place. We had 5 or 6 times during the day, the air strikes, the sirens, and people had to, because it was real threat, people had to come down to the shelters, bomb shelters, looking for the place, stopping their works, leaving their houses, and so on. Why? Because during these trainings in Russia, Russian airplanes are getting up in the air and flying is like a side like of our borders. And for us, usually from the previous experience, we know there in this moment, all of us have to be prepared because they were launching the missiles. And this is why we cannot ignore it. So if we have it 5 times, 6 times, we will have it more and more and more. And because we never know which the missile they will use. If they are using like Kinjal,
Mm-hmm.
we will not have time to prepare for anything.
Well,
this is why we need.
Ukrainian defense came out today and said for the next 4 or 5 days, we're going to live under an air raid because the MiG-31s that are traveling around are equipped with Kinjals. It doesn't mean they're going to fire them or not, but if they do, there's not really anything we can do. They're hypersonic.
Yeah, we need to take care of people, of us, to save our lives, to do our best. That's it. And this is why it makes Russia happy, Russian people. Oh, okay. We getting Ukrainians in their like dungeons, and they are sitting there. Haha, we're happy.
Exactly.
Plus,
and
today, the other example today we had in our place, it was 2 or 3 times. It was the electricity disconnection because our system is overloaded. It was the short time with no electricity, like up to 1 hour, sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes more, but this is the reality we live. You never know. Will you have electricity and will you be outside in the street looking for something?
Right now, they're creating instability in power, instability in knowing what's next, And even Kyiv came out today and said, listen, we know that sometimes people ignore the air raids, but over the next 4 or 5 days, do not ignore these air raids. These planes are flying around with Kinjals, and we can't stop them.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when these guys meet, Russian Security Council, things begin to happen. Now, they met today. They met yesterday. We know that the nuclear testing began today. After their meetings, they were talking about what is coming next. But most importantly, Vladimir Putin came out after today's meetings and gave some updates. Let me share those and see what you think here. He said,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm quoting, Ukraine has become an instrument of U.S. foreign policy and has practically lost its sovereignty. Ukrainian territory has been turned into a testing ground for biological experiments and is now being pumped up with weapons. A black market for weapons is being formed in Ukraine. There is a risk of man-portable anti-aircraft missile systems and high-precision weapons falling into the hands of malefactors, bad guys. And the incident on the Crimean Bridge, the sabotage attempts at the Kursk nuclear power plant show that increased security measures must be taken. These are the direct statements out of that Security Council meeting and from Putin. What does that tell you as a Ukrainian?
Oh, okay. It tells like they have the same story. They cannot create the other one story. I mean, so the creativity on the zero level. He just repeats it all the time. It was 10 years ago. It was 8 years ago. He was doing, 8 years ago, they annexed our territory, the part of, with the same statements. Oh, if it wouldn't be us taking Crimea, that then the NATO would use it for their like a forepost, putting there like a nuclear weapon or something like that. So we couldn't allow it. So this is why, to protect us, we had to get Ukrainian territory. Plus, there is a historical blah blah blah. It's the same. And okay, how it's possible? Where is the logic? They started the war with their tanks, not NATO. And now when they're losing, surely they need to do something, explain people that NATO is everywhere. We fight with NATO and so on and so on. And this is, and because of a lot of weapon we didn't expect, if they will lose some, lose some territory, that people had to understand it's not because the Russian army cannot find and it's corrupted and a lot of things were stolen and they're sinking in alcohol. It's all because NATO are supplying because of biolaboratory. This is why Russian people have to be ready to die for that, and so on and so on.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Going to go back to the headline here. These are the quotes of Putin. Question number one. How many NATO troops in all of your driving around serving the Ukrainian military have you seen?
No NATO troops.
How many?
No.
Zero.
Okay. It means there is no NATO troops. Probably it would make me happy to see some, like 101 Air Force.
Okay, let's get specific.
No,
have you seen any American troops, rolling in the Hummers on the front lines? No.
No.
Polish?
No.
German?
No.
French? Great Britain? No.
Not yet. I hope for.
Now, question number 2. Wasn't it at the beginning of this war that Russia was coming, A, to save its people, B, to destroy fascism, and 3, to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine. Correct?
Okay.
That's what they were saying.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
For demilitarize.
Do you see any of that here?
Man, they are demilitarizing their own army at this moment. Why? Because they brought it to Ukraine. And at this moment, sorry guys, but at this moment, Russia wins the race of supplying Ukraine with the tanks and artillery and so on. Because so many technique they're leaving. At this moment, their numbers, the technique they supply us more than any other country. It's a fact. So about demilitarizing, I mean, demilitarizing. Then
Demilitarize, yeah.
Demilitarize. The second thing, they were looking, I mean, telling that they were fighting with fascism. In reality, they are fighting and eliminating, killing their fathers, sons, husbands, because they send them without preparation in most of cases, and sometimes 4 or 5 days from the moment they've been on the civilian life and they're on the battlefield. 7 days, 10 days, and I think there is a reason why, because when country will become unstable, the man who can find a way to get to find a weapon and stand for their rights, they will be killed on that moment, because anyhow the Russia will be unstable more and more. This is why today they're having special trainings in the center of Moscow for protecting the government offices. Right now there is a technique right in the center of Moscow. Why? Protecting from forward against whom?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're seeing Russia destabilized. On another topic, we're seeing Iran completely destabilized. And it's interesting, even China, so many protests that are happening after Xi going back in throughout the nation. Isn't it interesting that these 3 destabilized nations are in partnership together? It's not a coincidence.
And one more thing. Could you get this slide back?
I can. Which one you want?
The last one.
Putin?
With the yes. The first one says Ukraine has become an instrument of U.S. foreign policy, has practically lost its sovereignty. I would change it a little bit. Ukraine has to become an instrument of demonstration of U.S. and international foreign policy for practicing establishing the sovereignty and supporting of sovereignty for Ukraine and the future possible countries like that. At this moment, yes, it's a field, and yes, it's a demonstration, and I hope it will be the demonstration. The lights every time beats the darkness, and sovereignty is something which the world will, and US currently will stand for and support for.
That is a great. You took the words from Putin and turned them around to what they should be. Perfection. You know, Russia is very good at twisting things. And this is what the Kremlin does. This is what dictators do. Here's something extremely twisted. And, you know, the title of the program tonight, dealing with the nuclear rhetoric, the nuclear problems. It's not only the nuclear exercises there in Russia, but this is a tweet from the official Russian government organization, Defense Ministry, stating that according to the information at hand, 2 organizations of Ukraine have been directly ordered to create the so-called dirty bomb. The works are at their concluding stage. They put all these pictures up, these graphs, this information. Folks, it is nothing but complete lies. And in fact, the sovereign nation of Slovenia, the government came out and said, this is trash. This photo was used by the Russian Foreign Ministry in its Twitter post. Is from 2010. Any material here stored safely, not used for making dirty bombs. But this is what this regime does. How can this happen that the number one story in the world, this war in Ukraine, and the madness in Russia can just post some old picture and the world will just run with it? Slovenia comes out and says, not true. These are all lies.
Okay, it's a good moment one more time to think about if it would not be influencing people, it wouldn't be used. People, a lot of people, have a weak ability to have a critical, like a mindset, thinking.
Mm-hmm.
This is why they even no doubt about what is Russia officials are posting. Why? Because they trust their government, because they trust their neighbors, their people in their jobs. They trust the people telling the truth. And when it says it's official statement, it means a lot. And still, it means a lot.
Sure.
I hope soon it will become like association will become like close, like, I mean, if would be on a Twitter saying, okay, bin Laden statement is, and people, okay, it's a trash.
Mm-hmm.
If
Correct.
it's Russia officials, okay, it's okay, it's already done. We already have seen it 20 more times, 30 times. They were telling one thing, and then they showing reality. Slovenia fixing them. This is reality.
And unfortunately, this is where we're trying to get to in the world. And a lot of technology, social media that people rely on is suppressing truth. I had a lady contact me today that's a faithful viewer, faithful financial supporter of the work in Ukraine. And she says, PG, I tried to share all of your stuff on my Facebook today and they wouldn't let me. It was blocked. So, we have mass media that's trying to control the narrative. And once again, it always comes down to the dollar. Now, Russia didn't only post pictures, they actually shared how Ukraine is going to do the dirty bomb. Let me show you this. And Jane, you can confirm it. First of all, they said that Ukraine is stealing or have stolen an Iskander. That's that missile right there on that truck. Secondly, Ukraine is loading it with the dirty bomb materials. And third, they're either going to fly it over Zaporozhye nuclear power plant or Chernobyl and blow it up. That's their plan. Is that your plan?
Okay, may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Story, if they're asking about it, I mean, making this statement that Ukraine, the stolen of Iskander, where? From Kremlin?
I don't know.
Ukrainians got there, it was standing, no driver. Okay, let's go to Ukraine. I mean, where is Iskander? Where we got it from? I mean, we got it.
That's the point. But
it's a question.
Back to the narrative. This is what they're saying is going to happen. What does that mean? That means it's what they are preparing to do.
Yes.
That's what it means. They're preparing.
It already was. I mean, it already was commented on international level by U.S. military people and so on. Like, I mean, that if Russia's doing such statements, it means opposite things, that they will use it. They will do it.
Well, here is Jens Stoltenberg, Secretary General of NATO, on the George H.W. Bush making that statement. Here this is.
Russia now falsely claims Ukraine is preparing to use a radiological dirty bomb on its own territory. NATO allies reject this transparently false allegation. Russia often accuses others for what they intend to do themselves. We have seen this pattern before, from Syria to Ukraine. Russia must not use false pretexts for further escalation. The world is watching closely. President Putin's nuclear rhetoric is dangerous, and it is reckless and irresponsible. Any use of a nuclear weapon in Ukraine will fundamentally change the nature of the conflict. President Putin, Russia, knows that a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. And they also know that there will be severe consequences.
What a beautiful ship. Can't we just roll that up in the Black Sea and end this real quick? But there's Jens Stoltenberg, exactly what you said, buddy. He says, if Russia is saying this and accusing it, watch out, this is what they're going to do. And then secondly, it's completely irresponsible to do the nuclear rhetoric that they're doing. It's exactly what you said.
Yeah. And today I've seen the message for military, the Russian military, the reminder.
The new level of madness is what I would call it. Is this what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can zoom in on this so we can. This is the Army of Russia giving a notice, came out today. Can you read that to us?
Yeah, I will. And the interesting thing that people, didn't point on a couple, one line in that military reminder. It says military reminder. I didn't say it. Okay. And you may check, is it fake or real? Please go and do a fact checking. It's a.
I can let me fact check you. It looks like the first sentence says soldiers of the Army of Russia. Just a reminder, your language is Russian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You take over from there.
Military reminder. You may check. You can read it. Mm-hmm. Soldier of the Russian Army. Your language of communication is Russian. In the noble days of the war. This is how they call these days of the war. It's the noble days.
Noble.
Of the war. Against of what? You understand that it started from special operation for helping Russian speaking people or something like that. Yeah, okay. Against the interracial and intercultural evil of the West. Where is Ukraine?
Exactly. No mention of Ukraine.
Russian servicemen are obligated to adhere to the norms of the Constitution and the principles of patriotism. Today, it is our homeland that opposes international terrorism and Western Russophobia. Our best answer is Iskander missiles and the Russian language, which proudly sounds in the Caucasus, in Abkhazia and in Transnistria, and in the Donbass, and soon in Warsaw, Belgrade, and Washington.
Hold on. Wait. Wait. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I need to make sure people understand. They're saying with Iskanders in the Russian language what we've already done in Abkhazia and Transnistria region in Donbass soon will be in Warsaw, Poland, in Belgrade, and Washington, D.C.
It is the Russophobic scum with which we are at the war that opposes the Russian language. Shoot at the enemy with a brisk Russian battle cry, Goida, Russian army. This is how they wrap it.
This was today. Today.
I mean, today I found because, but the article was not about the. It was about that Russian are making people, doesn't matter their native language. There is only Russian language they can use in being an army. But I looked at that line,
Document.
what she said, and this is, I mean, this is. Please make check if you want. Is it reality or not? But this is reality. You may check. This is the letter, the reminder they have in army.
Well, let's give one more reminder. One more reminder. We've said it at least half a dozen times that one of the reasons that this war happened so quickly is back to the U.S. exit of Afghanistan. The United States became very weak on the international stage. Nations like Russia, Iran, China see this as an advantage. They see it as an opportunity to push their agendas. For Iran, it would be nuclear pursuit. For Russia, it would be Ukraine. And for China, it will be Taiwan and economic, and become the economic superpower. So this is what's happening. Now we today get a little proof of some of the things that we have been saying. For example, this. Prior to the takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban, the U.S. spent $90 billion building up the Afghan defense and security forces. The commandos were trained by the SEALs, our Navy SEALs, and the British Special Services. The U.S. withdrawal left between 20 and 30,000 volunteer commandos now hiding from capture and execution from the Taliban. They are being recruited by the Russian forces and Wagner, which is the mercenaries, which this is happening. But Zhenya, what's really interesting is this goes against the letter that Russia sends out. If you're here, you're going to speak Russian, you're going to be the Russian army. Well, they're going to bring in guys that are speaking Urdu or Afghani. But this is happening, and here, all the equipment, the training, now but going to
as
Russia.
I understand, there is a difference between our Russian army and the Wagner army. And I think in the future we will see this difference much more.
Okay.
Because it's like own army, and it's crazy because according to the Russian laws, as I know, there cannot be like mercenaries, something like that. It's illegal. But at this moment, the Wagner hiring the prisoners who was condemned for the killing people, now taking them to protect, being involved in the noble Russian war.
Correct. And now going to add to the Russian forces through the Wagner, Afghani troops that were trained by the United States and Britain. Real good. They'll probably grab our Humvees we left there too. Sorry, I can speak about my own country. You don't have to. We'll see. But that's where we're at, and that is what's happening today. As we close out tonight, Zhenya, we want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to you. Thank you to Ukraine. Thank you to all the work we do here as the team at the experience. Thank you to the church about the life, all the financial, all the gift giving through Amazon. We just want to pause tonight and say thank you. Had a great message come in today. Received some packages. It says, Greg, I use these lanterns when camping and when I lose power. They are great. Hope they can be put to use helping a few families in Ukraine with power issues. I also sent trauma shears and gloves to the wish list as well from Justin W. Also, very much appreciate the updates from Justin W. Justin, they got here. Your message got here. And thank you. We'll use you as an example tonight. Let me go to bigger cam here. So inflatable lights, solar, they can power them up. Awesome. He sent two boxes of these things. So they will also be shipped out to Ukraine, not on the wish list, but just somebody in the community going, I got an idea. This would be great for civilians or soldiers. So we've got an awesome community being built here, man. So thank you to everybody.
It's incredible. I want to say thank you for telling the truth, for sharing the thoughts, the video, the facts, because this is the moment when there's different sides. One is sharing with no limits their lies.
Mm-hmm.
There is other one who telling the truth to people, telling the truth, and I believe that God is appreciate who is telling the truth, and it's a plus. Thank you for everyone who shows this support. And it's people calling me. I did tell it to Greg. People we visited. And they're asking regularly, hey, one more time. We were thinking about your friend Greg. He was with you. Tell him thank you one more time, because it was so encouraging that the person from US who represent the other people who were participating to buying the things he was bringing. The fact itself, it's incredible. He says, one more time, tell him thanks. This is what I'm doing. Thank you for being here, by support.
There's a difference. There's a difference. Of course, everybody can't go, but I can go and represent everybody in this community. And that's what we're doing. And I know, and I try to communicate it, and I appreciate you saying that. But when you're there and you can speak to people, and they flip to Russian because that's the language that I can speak in. It's okay. They flip to Russian and we communicate, and just to be there speaks volumes. And then with the aid we bring and the love and sharing the truth, this is what makes this an awesome journey of helping right now Ukraine. And we're going to do it until victory comes, and we're all going to celebrate together victory in Kyiv.
Yeah, and I just want to thank previous month when I was delivering things like the food to people. I was telling, hey, we are Christians, we brought you food, and we're from Khmelnytsky, but the things we represent and things we brought are not from Khmelnytsky only. It's from different places, which means that people think they love you, they think about you, and then support you. People outside of Ukraine as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were getting it, they were thinking, okay, we're not alone. Okay, surely they will not leave us. It was building the hope. Plus, even moving to the first couple, 4 months, the possibility for our team to accept 2,500 people, refugees from the east, to accommodate them, to feed them. Without the support of others, your support, we would make it, because we could rent 3 buildings. We could feed every day, a few times a day, 150 people. It was new people. We could do a transportation and a lot of other stuff. So it just, I mean, I will not forget. It's, for me, it's just one long story, a story with a lot of, like, thousands of thank you.
Well, we keep saying it, buddy. We're going to do it all the way until victory, and we are. We're committed, and I think, you know, I think that our consistency and transparency has proven that. With that said, many people do want more, and concerned about us being limited on public platforms, and, you know, would like to see more stuff, see more translations, maybe see and hear from us more than just a 9 o'clock update. And our Patreon is now built. It's up and running. It just finalized actually this afternoon, late this afternoon. This is it. It's patreon.com/Greg Terry Experience. There'll be a link in the description. And just for the cost of a cup of coffee, which is not for us, we're going to use it to bless others and to help translators and do all the stuff. But for that, here we're going to be posting nonstop updates, translations. We're going to do Zoom calls, private videos that, you know, a 2-minute update here, there. It's just going to be much more active. All of our nightly updates will be here forever until we have victory. But this is going to just be another place. So if you're interested in that, you can click the link in the description, and there you'll see Zhenya posting. You'll see me posting. We'll be talking back and forth. You can build the community and talk with each other. Just another platform, because we've got to use everything possible to get the truth out. And that's what we're going to do. So thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night. Good update. A lot of truth. And we'll see what happens in 23 hours. We'll be here. Good night to all.
To all, a good night.
We've got that down now.